All right, welcome everybody back to Muffins with Morgan, and we have Jackie. Is it Hermes? How does he say it right? Hermes.
You don't know how to say my last name? What is this nonsense?
I'm joking. I know how to say it last. I just want to mess with you. Hermes is here. So now what we're going to do, y'all, is we're going to dive into a lot of different topics, a lot of different conversations with Jackie today. And as always, you guys know, let us know where you're tuning in from. And you guys know I'm going to start off strong with, our soundboard here already in the mix. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know where you're at. And then we'll dive into it. Jackie, how's your Friday going?
Wonderful. Just got off the bike. Had to get the Peloton. Get my energy level high for this. Clearly, you've got very high energy to start. I'm usually
surprised though. Like
no. I'm just usually a little more like monotone, sarcastic. I feel like I need to pick it up a little bit, but we'll get there. I'm confident.
You can stay in your lane. I mean, it's chill. You can stay in your lane. You're good. You're good.
I'm drinking my Zoa, which is an ad for The Rock. There's a lot of caffeine in this, so.
What is Zoa?
My husband started buying this. It's like a healthier Red Bull, I guess. Well, it's not. It's really not Red Bull, but it's 0 calorie. It's supposed to have a bunch of vitamins in it. The Rock put his face on it for a while, which was very weird when I was drinking it in calls and you can just see like The Rock huge on it. It was really strange.
What? Okay, I need to do some investigation.
You need any caffeine. I feel like you're naturally caffeinated.
Yes, that is true. That's why I've never drank coffee before. I feel like that would be a disaster.
So you don't need this for sure.
I was going to say, hey, let me go check it out, but maybe I shouldn't.
Don't check it out. Yeah.
All right. What's going on, everybody that's coming in? Crystal, welcome. Shout out to Miami. I was just there last week, actually, to go see the OC fight. So that was a ton of fun.
I love Miami.
It's always a good time. Shout out to Italy. We're in Italy. Shout out to that. We got Virginia in the house. Riley, good seeing you. Everyone else, let us know where you're tuning in from on
Brooklyn.
This show. Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. Travis is out there. So, you want to say something about Brooklyn? I feel like you got.
No, Brooklyn has my heart. All of these places I love. So, welcome.
All right. Good. So hopefully we don't have a comment that is not your spot. So you're like, uh-oh. But shout out to everybody in there. Toronto, shut up. Miami is great, Jeff. I do agree. And what we're going to be doing here today is talking about how sellers can become more mini marketers. So I couldn't think of a better person than Jackie to speak to on this. And I'm going to ask a couple questions. However, this is not just me asking questions. This is you all asking questions as well. So if you have questions for Jackie, anything marketing related, or I don't know, anything else you want to ask, maybe ask a question. She's in Milwaukee, the Bucks. If you have a question on that, she's more than.
I'll talk about the Bucks. Yeah. I was tempted to wear some Bucks gear to this, but I was about to text you, what exactly is the dress code? But the dress code is black light.
Whatever. You could have worn whatever.
I know.
So if you have those questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Obviously, we're more than happy to answer those questions. But again, this is about Jackie. So the first thing that I want to talk about is everyone always wants to go and create some type of content and they want to put themselves out there, right? But they may not know how to start. So let's say you have a client that comes to you. I know that you said that you're experimenting with right now. What are the first 4 steps that someone needs to do if their sales team wants to become mini marketers?
I mean, that's a super loaded question because being a good marketer it's not hard, but there are some skills that are tricky to learn, like being a good writer. That is one of the very first things that I would learn is go take a crash course on copywriting and study what people are doing on LinkedIn, if that's where you want to post, because there are some very specific things that work on LinkedIn. And I think if you go out with big blocks of text or a hook that sucks, a bad hook can kill your entire post, which is crazy. Also, it seems like more companies are getting bought in to letting their salespeople post. What's your take on that?
Oh, they are. They are for sure. But I think as they're getting more bought in, that they're also what do we do? right?
Yeah.
And how to go about it. I've been working and also talking to people who are building employee advocacy programs around doing this so that
Yep.
it's easier for them to ease into it than being like, hey, our people are just going to be content creators. They're like, no, there's an advocacy program that they can go through, and then they start letting them post, and then that works well. They have more people post, so marketing's in the loop, customer success in the loop, etc. So I've started to see that as well.
Yeah, I mean, another good thing to do is make sure that you are in lockstep with your marketing team. And that does not mean like reposting whatever is going up on the LinkedIn page, or if your marketing team is sending out like post this exact post, I would not do it. Like make sure you
You would rebel?
what was that?
You're gonna rebel?
Yeah, you have to. No one wants to see a company posting something and then like 10 salespeople reposting that exact piece of content. Like read through the content that marketing is producing. Another thing that you can do is take inspiration from your sales conversations, the questions that people ask, or the conversations that you get into with your prospects. That is absolutely perfect content for LinkedIn. I don't know what the approval process looks like at all these companies. A lot of companies don't want,
Yeah.
people just out posting whatever the heck. Whereas our team, it's like, you want to post on LinkedIn? Great. I don't care what you post. I just want you to be there, interacting, posting, because the more that we can legitimize our team and show people that we know what we're doing, it's a win. And it doesn't have to be like regurgitating the company line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like anybody who is getting the, hey, we need to share our post out here. Here's this thing, go share it. Typically that leads into just a straight up like womp womp fest, right? Like it's just not really going to work out very well. And then what's going to end up happening is that the posts that are out there are not going to be genuine. They're not going to be authentic. And then it's actually just going to actually hurt you worse in the long run. So want to
Mhm.
definitely re-mention that, and also in the comments if you're facing the same thing, definitely give her feedback in there. But that's what I would tell people as well.
Yeah, for sure. I would say we have a pretty specific approach internally of how we kind of partner marketing and sales, where every single campaign that we launch, usually we try for once a quarter, but with me running our marketing, sometimes I'm a bottleneck. But like we are launching a health tech campaign right now. We put together a top prospect list. We went and added all of them to my network and to our BDR's network. And we're not going and just pushing out sales messages to them, but we're posting content and we're kind of like hitting them from all sides. It's like a sales and marketing combination that helps us fill the pipeline versus sales going at it alone or marketing going at it alone.
So I want to bring this up, something that Travis said. So shout out to my YouTube people. Shout out to y'all. So he said flip it and spin it, which sounds like a fire Migos song. Like low
I
key.
I I was thinking Missy Elliott.
That Missy Elliott and Migos.
I love her. She's the best.
She's definitely top class. So it's saying send your team a spread if you're actually interested in being creative. So one thing you mentioned is about this health help campaign and everything that you did. How do you make sure that marketing and sales are on the same page and that the creative is still there but still accomplishes the goals for the sales team?
I mean, for us internally, it's easy, right? Because we have a small team that's doing it.
Right.
But I think training your sales team, and I mean, I'm sure they want to be trained. There's always this weird divide thing that everyone's been talking about. This has been like a conversation in my career for 15 years, which is silly. But like training the sales team on the importance of education and helping them with ideas of how they might do some outreach that helps drive traffic to your site without just, like, hey, I see you're a health tech. We do health tech marketing. Buy from us.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has to be it has to be
a
more
little bit more than that.
or it has to be more of a process. I know you know that, but I think that sometimes that sales teams can feel like it's a waste to be like pushing out marketing's message instead of doing just straight prospecting.
So and that's what's been very interesting as of late. If we have any, I know we have probably do sales reps in the room, let us know. Put a one in the chat. This question is definitely geared towards you, and if you're a sales leader as well, because right now, from clients that I've talked to, people that I know, colleagues, etc., outbound's gotten incredibly harder. I mean, if it got easier for you, like great, maybe let's talk to us, right? But everyone I'm talking to is harder 20, 30, 40% quota attainments across the board. That's obviously not good numbers. That's failing, right? And if you're going into any type of academic thing, you're not passing. So I guess the question is, you're talking marketing is all in, the sales reps are in. Let's say if you have senior sales leaders that are not into making them mini marketers, they think social is a waste of time and they still think pounding the phones is the way to go. What would you recommend for a sales team to talk to their senior leadership about, or a marketing team to talk to their leadership team about from the sales perspective to get them bought into this process?
Okay, the first thing that I wanted to say was if your sales leader isn't bought in, get a new job, which is maybe a little flippant, but like, dude, you can't, we are actually, so I've been interviewing for BDR roles and I'm hearing people like, this role is so unique because I don't have to make 100 some calls a day. I'm like, what? I mean, calling, I think works and it has its place, but you have to have a mix of different outreach methods. And I talk to our BDR all the time about this, about trying video, about trying to see if you can grab people on the phone, about email. And your emails have to be extremely well written. Your subject lines have to be compelling because, God, I probably personally get 20 plus sales messages every single day. And I only really look at them when they're really good. And usually it's just to respond like, this is an awesome email, but no, thank you. Uh, but as you know, no, a response and a no is better than nothing for sure. So I think it has to be a mix of different outreach methods. And for those sales leaders that are hesitant, it's like, why not give people a quarter and let them do their own thing and say, this is the meeting number, this is your goal or whatever. Show me if you can get there. If people are already hitting 20 or 30% of quota, it's not going well already. So I think that if you trust your team and you can give them a little bit of freedom, like that's our policy. You get the numbers, and if they're high quality, like our BDR brings in the highest quality meetings. And so the number is lower than a lot of
Mhm.
places because we're really looking for quality. So I just think that your priorities have to be in the right place. And if your leader is a good leader, they should have their team well trained and they should trust them.
I love that advice. And I like that you talked about the mix of different methods to make sure that they can get that interaction going, but not just leaning maybe on one thing and making sure it's not like, oh, we're only going to do email, we're only going to do cold calling. It's changing that mindset across the entire org. So we have a couple questions that have come in here. And Gabrielle, I saw your question. What type of trainings do you usually do with your teams? I don't know if that was geared towards like Jackie internally, but clarify so we can have that. Before we go into the question, I got Yo, this actually is fire. Adam, flip it, spin it. Missy Elliott featuring Migos. Yo, this actually could be a banger. Like,
I'm real serious about this, but there is a Missy Elliott song from like when I was in high school that has these words in it. Also, these comments, emails are dead, emails are the past. I don't know, man. We're still booking meetings from emails. It has to be a mix because people are receptive to different things. And also us marketers love to dead things. Like this is dead. This is I mean, you know how many blogs I've written that say like this is dead. This is what you have to do instead. It's extreme.
probably the most. It's like the most. It's probably the most clickbait hook that you can have of all time. Like, oh, this is dead. Like,
But it
no way.
works. Why does it still work? It's painful, but who knows?
There's a lot of psychology on that one, but I would agree with Jackie. Nothing is dead until everyone comes to me and tells me it's just not working at all. So there's always going to be a way for it to work. I've had a lot of people that I've talked to, and emails working for them really well. It's just the quality of how you do it. What I will say is dead is loading up emails into a campaign and a sales engagement tool and blasting it out. Like that used to work in the past, but yeah, that's dead. I would tell you not to do that because then your email deliverability is going to go down. Then your domain's going to be bad. You're going to go to spam. And then that's probably why you're not getting responses. So it's a deeper game than just the messaging. There's deliverability and things of that nature. And, there's a lot of people that are talking about that. So, all right. Shout out to YouTube here. We have a question. And then Gabrielle, let us know what your question was. I just want to make sure we answer that correctly. So
Oh,
I'm currently posting short form videos on my personal LinkedIn page and getting more engagement every week. All right. That's amazing. I see a lot of high profile salespeople go follower mode. Is this a good idea? Okay.
Wait, what's
The
follower mode?
creator mode. Creator mode.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
I
like,
was gonna say new
did
I
I
was
miss
gonna say new
something?
mode. I was
I might have.
like no, creator mode. That's what we're talking about here.
What do you think about creator mode? I mean, when they started the program, I turned it on. I've never turned it off, and so it seems to be working. But what's your opinion on it?
I like it because from what I understand, there's a lot of additional functionalities, right? It allows you to do LinkedIn Live. It allows you to have a newsletter, which I haven't started yet, but there's a lot of good capabilities there for doing your newsletter on LinkedIn. Then you can capture there on your own newsletter. So that's a strategy that I'll be implementing in the next couple of weeks. And I also like the fact that it does follow. It allows for people to follow you because I have a ton of, I don't know how many you have, but I have so many pending connections, and I don't think I'll ever go through them. I'm like, I just don't think I ever will. There's too many.
I I look like every few weeks to see because often there's like if I'm talking to prospects or I'm, like meeting people out and about, I don't want them sitting there. But and then sometimes I'll get messages and be like, "Oh, I know that person," and then there's a pending request. But yeah, I that was something that was broken for a long time on LinkedIn is when the request came in, it didn't follow. And it's like, I'm sure you're at the 30K limit, which I find silly, but I think I've got maybe 4 or 5,000 requests sitting there. And that's, oh, but also, yeah, no, I never
Trying to
go through
flex on
them.
them.
Yeah, I never go through them. It's just it takes a lot of time, dude. So the verdict on creator mode, I would try it at least.
Yeah, I would do it. I also, there's a way where you can look through your followers now. Before it was very hard. It's become a little bit more easier to manage and actually look through. There's a couple of like workarounds around it. So I don't see the downsides. I do agree with right here. Shout out to Mikey. The best thing a sales rep can do is flip on creator mode. Insane upside, zero downside across the
Yeah,
board.
I don't see any downside with it.
Okay, yeah.
Jackie has me on pending. All love though.
Shout out.
My bad. My bad. Wow. I'm just getting called out. It's just gonna turn into a roast of Jackie.
That's actually the later half of the show. Baited you with the first 30 minutes is knowledge, and then it's a roast. So
I could roast myself probably for 30 minutes. So let's go.
but everyone who doesn't have it on, turn it on. Let us know when you come back. That would be very interesting to do. So let's go back to going through the mini marketer piece. So let's say that the team is bought in, right? We went through the steps, everyone is aligned, and everyone's good. What should the sales rep be creating, and how should they like show up on the platform?
So there's so many different schools of thought around this. I feel like this is the great LinkedIn creator debate where everyone's always going back and forth about whether you stay in your lane or you post, outside of your industry. I think you know that I take a little bit more of a broad approach where every week I post 4 to 5 times and I post at least 25% on marketing. And the rest are so I'm going for increasing followers and going viral as much as possible to increase the audience and then showing them that marketing content. Now, that said, we are running personal LinkedIn pages for a few of our clients because it helps us amplify their marketing. The more eyeballs you can get on it, the better. And they stay very, very industry focused, and that's working for them too. So I think you kind of have to decide what you want your strategy to be. And if you are going to go more broad, you have to have a system in place to capture people and to make sure that you have your audience full of your good fit prospects. So every quarter we're building those top prospect lists in each industry, and I'm going and pruning some of my connections and then adding more people that are in our like target market. Wow, words Friday.
We'll get through it. So
Apparently I can't talk.
going back to capture, is that more so capture with like the CRM? Is that capture in terms of like, do you actually have the right system to like sell them? Like, what, define a little bit more on the capture side.
I mean, capture broadly means moving people that are in your target market off of LinkedIn. Like you just mentioned a LinkedIn newsletter, and I was like good idea, and also like it can be sketchy because then LinkedIn just continues to own, your data. I hope no one from LinkedIn sees this. I mean, you can do both, but
Yep.
also, like, I have a girlfriend who is like an OG fitness influencer, and she had like 1 million followers on Facebook. And then Facebook started doing the pay for play, where now you can only get reach if you're paying. And she basically lost her business like overnight. And that is a very extreme cautionary tale that I think we should all be looking at, that you have to bring people into to your website, to a podcast, to, you know, whatever it may be, to your email list. So when I'm always trying to drive people back to, you know, the Accelity site or a podcast or whatever it may be. And frankly, I could get better at it too.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. A lot of people get very caught up, and it's easy to, in the platform itself and the engagement and things you get, thinking like, oh, will we always be this way? And just like we've seen with even, Meta, Facebook, what they've done for Instagram, the bonuses aren't there for the reels, and then they flipped it right, and now you have to pay for it. So there's a lot of people that I know that they were getting pretty high margins on their bonuses for reels every single month, and now like that's not there, and they have to now
Hmm.
pay to get their reach that they had, which was
Hmm.
around their business. And maybe some people didn't have those newsletters or weren't capturing, so now they're like, wait, what do I do, right? So now they have to kind of go like one to one to each person, but that's gonna be a lot of work as well. So it definitely be mindful of that capture,
Yeah.
however you want to do it and how you want to go about it. I think Jackie's spot on. It's a newsletter. It's whatever it is. Slack, I guess you could do that. I don't know. It's probably not the best either, but whatever you want to do, like just think about like getting people off the social platform, going to another platform, and then going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having different ways that you can capture people. So, like, for people that aren't quite ready to work with my agency, we have a course that we made pretty inexpensive. I mean, it's a few $100s, but it gives you like a lot of the knowledge that we share with clients when we help get their marketing programs up and running. So, that's a way to capture. I have an email list. That's a way to capture. You can go to either of my two websites, poke around, use the contact form, submit a form of some kind. That's a capture. So, people are comfortable with different things. And I think that you have to really give them a lot of options and kind of test out what works.
A/B testing is absolutely key. That's what's really going to be able to help you stand out at the end of the day. And that leads into like the next question for you, Jackie, is like, this is also like for you and your personal brand. You've been doing it for what, 4 years now?
2018. I'm approaching 5. What is time? I don't
The
know.
OG realm. So
Yep.
this is a question for you, but also this is for people that are listening in that want to create content. And if you do, or you're looking to do it for your team, let us know in the chat, because this question will help you, and Jackie's answer will put you in the right direction. So when you're thinking about creating engaging content, one thing you mentioned was study copywriting, etc. What helps you in the beginning to create this engaging content? And then what should sales teams think about when they create engaging content? Should they be going video, short form writing? Obviously, it can depend on the person, but would appreciate your perspective here.
I mean, so what helped me in the beginning, I had the cheat code, which is Q, right? Quentin Allums, who I don't think he's been very active lately on LinkedIn, but he was like one of the first LinkedIn video creators.
Yep.
And working with him when I started, he was like, this is what works, this is what doesn't. So basically, what you have to do is figure that out. And it's weird because it's different for different people, right? I talked to Taslim the other day, and he was talking about how he's like, you know, you're at 110K. If you want to get to 200, really all you have to do is post carousels because that's what's working right now. And it's like, I could do that. It's not really like my vibe and not what I want to do, which is
Yep.
fine. But you have to figure out what aligns with what you want to do, what you can commit to producing, and what's working on the platform. So there are some people that text works. There are some people that, I mean, how many pictures can I post of myself? Apparently a lot, but it works, right?
Yep.
Luckily, my photographer lives like 3 blocks away from me. So I'm like, let's go take some pictures. My neighbors are probably like, who in the world does this chick think she is in the burbs of Milwaukee? I love it. Um, but yeah, so like, what are you comfortable with and what can you commit to producing? So maybe it's a few text posts a week. I think that is fine, and, and I think I see a lot of people that are doing that. And you have to test too to figure out what works the best for you. Because at first, when I saw that video was getting throttled a little bit, and now it looks like it's working for a lot of people, and that images were starting to work. I was like, "Oh, no. Like, what am I gonna post? Am I gonna be that well, I now am that person, and
No, you are.
there's no shame in my game. I don't care." Um, yeah. What was the rest of the question? Wow.
The first half was spot on. The second half was now flipping it and saying I'm a sales rep, and maybe I'm not a founder, and maybe I'm just starting out. I don't really know what to share. I don't know what to do. How can I create engaging content?
Yeah, so this is something, like I said, we're managing personal LinkedIn content for a few of our clients, and um, just looking at, like, if you are a sales rep at a company that has solid marketing, look at that content. Like we talked about before, the book They Ask You Answer, shout out to Marcus Sheridan. It's an amazing book. It talks about all of the different categories that you can create compelling content in. And one of the big ones is, what are the objections that you get in the sales process? What are the questions that come up? What are the conversations that you're having? You can build content around that. But I think taking company content and then reading through it and thinking, like, what's really compelling to me here? What am I hearing from prospects? And then rewriting some of that in your own voice, because it has to, it has to come from you, not the company.
Wait, not ChatGPT?
I mean, yeah, it can come from chat. I personally have not been using, but I know our copy team is using it. And even if just for like hook inspiration, and is it writing everything for us? Well, no, because we get paid to actually do the writing. But it's definitely helping, and it's saving time. It's making the process a lot faster. Are you using it?
I'm in love with not only ChatGPT but AI as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm getting pretty deep. Like there's something called YouTube. It's like called YouTube summarization for YouTube ChatGPT, and it can break down what the speaker said, the bullet points, what questions, etc. Easier to like narrate certain things across the board. And what I'll do is I'll feed it certain posts and say, hey, here's my language. And it's just I like it for just brainstorming, coming up with ideas. And when you're just like stuck, you're like, hey, I just need something to start going. I like it for that for sure. So yeah, I've been using it quite a bit, but there's some other ones that are even crazier that are coming out. And I'm like, where's this even coming from? So something to tap into if you're not already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so first and foremost, we have a question that's going to come in. But if you haven't been on this show before, if you've been on the show, you know what's going to happen. This is the halftime. All right, so this is the halftime, and basically at the halftime, we just want to make sure everybody's good. So if this is helpful and impactful so far, let us know in the chat. We want to make sure that this is good, or if it's not good, we can just turn to roasting Jackie. So this is really a turning point here, also as well. Like if it's good, like we're good, but like if you're all like, Jackie's really not saying really anything that I like right now, we can flip it on her and we'll just roast her. So that's the thing that we also can do here as well. But as people come in, seeing if it's helpful, insightful, all these different things, let us know in the chat that we're good. We have a question that just came in, or multiple questions, and keep them coming. And this one right here is this. So this is actually really interesting. Overall, what are your thoughts on manipulating algorithms? A lot of creators say to ignore them, but those creators also have already had massive followings, so they don't need algorithms. And then I'll
Mm-hmm.
condense this well. Of course, it's easy to say those creators built massive followings without worrying about algorithms, which may or may not be true. I guess my question is, how important do you think the algorithm is? How much of an impact does it have? This is an excellent question. Thanks for dropping in on it.
Thanks, Mikey. I think anyone who has a decent sized audience that says they ignore the algorithm is full of shit. Like, I don't believe that at all. We were just talking about that before. Like, you've been posting on LinkedIn for how long? I'm throwing
7
your
years.
7 years.
Yeah.
You're real OG
I'm not.
status.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
you're 7 years in, and we're still having conversations of like, hey, this was working really well a few months ago. It's not working as well now. Not as many people are seeing my content. And when you are building an audience and not as many people are seeing your content, you can't get to your goals of filling your pipeline, launching your new company, whatever it may be. So I think there's a line though. Like, I know that I could change my content in a number of ways and it would go further. Like the carousels comment or the copywriting in a certain way so that it
Yep.
looks a certain way. Like Justin Welsh is a good example. Does he manipulate the algorithm? I don't think so, but he knows exactly how to write for it, and dude's growing like that, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I guess I kind of ride in the middle where I'm aware of the algorithm. I'm looking at best practices. I'm constantly testing new things to make sure that my content is seen, but I'm not writing and posting only for the algorithm because to me that feels it doesn't feel true to me, and I'm building a brand that is me and it's based on
Mhm.
just being authentic and genuine and open. And I don't think that you can totally do that and pander to the algorithm all the time. What's your opinion on this?
So this is for you to answer. I don't answer
I
questions.
know, but I really wanna know.
I'm
Every
kidding.
every question, I'm like, "Morgan, tell me."
You can flip it back on me at any time.
I do wanna know.
So the way that I'm gonna go all the way back. All right. I'm gonna take y'all to 2016. All right. So when I first started creating content, the way that I actually saw the platform, everyone was doing writing. That was it. LinkedIn posts, writing blogs, that was literally it. So I found an avenue where you could post YouTube videos. It would upload the whole entire thing, direct link to YouTube, because at the time no one knew it was even going on. I don't think even LinkedIn even knew that you could do this. So it actually like gamed the algorithm, and my views were insane, like off the charts. Like the amount of engagement that I would get would be pretty crazy, like 40, 50, 60,000 views on a linked to a YouTube, right? That's unheard of.
That
So
is.
at that point in time, I rode that strategy, and that you could consider probably gaming the algorithm, right? Like that's what I was doing. But over time, I've noticed that like things have changed. Obviously, like each year it changes. I'm like, all right, cool. I found this streak, and you always have to be adjusting because the rules change, and also new creators come to the platform that also could set the tone of what the algorithm is going to feed, and people change, et cetera, and how they consume information. So the way that I think about it is that like I'm always paying attention to the algorithm because there is something that the algorithm cares about. And I've actually been doing a lot of studying even on YouTube as well. And like there is an algorithm to YouTube. Like if anyone tells you like, oh, just show up and be yourself, like it's way more than that. Like
Mhm.
there is a Rigmith formula to success on YouTube, and it's the same almost on every single platform. So anyone who tells you that it's not, like they're not telling you the truth. So what I look to do is very similar to Jackie. Is I don't want to lean heavily in one direction. Like I'm not like a photographer person, but do I have a photographer? And I was like, yo, we need to shoot some photos because like it seems that that is the move right now. Like, yeah, that's what we did because like we knew that was the direction to go to. So I do pay attention to what the algorithm's doing. I shift towards how can I remain Morgan in this new phase where the content is going. I
Yeah,
don't just completely sell out and say, oh my gosh, everyone's doing this, so I'm going to copy the same exact thing. No, I figure out how can I uniquely show up in a way that's me so people know that it's me, but it still fits the rules of where things are going. And if
exactly.
you look at anything in the environment or even sports, like that's how people adapt, right? Is like the rules are changing. How can I still be me and make this make sense?
Yeah, and you know what? If you're trying to crack the algorithm on LinkedIn, good luck. Like, I don't know if LinkedIn even knows what the LinkedIn algorithm is. Like,
Yeah,
it's
facts.
changing it feels like it's changing all the time, and it's like, we used to talk about this all the time. Okay, how much text is in the preview? Is it a line? Is it 2 lines? How do you need to format your hook? Well, I don't know. Sometimes I see a few lines, sometimes I see a whole dang paragraph, sometimes I see like 3 words. I You just have to make sure that your content is strong right away, and you have to make sure that it's really true to you because I think that people can see through it when you're only trying to play with the algorithm.
Oh, agreed 100%. And then that's how you lose the piece where people truly connect with you. Like, because people should be able to watch your videos, read your content, and they feel and they hear you. If they're
Yes.
not feeling that, then that's going to be a huge problem, which then leads right into our next question. I did not plan this question right while I was saying this, but like it really works well here. I've heard Google is starting to punish AI generated content. Do you think LinkedIn will start doing the same, Jackie?
No. I think if they do, it will take a while.
Okay.
It is my opinion, like, I think it takes LinkedIn a little bit longer than some platforms to roll out stuff like this, and I think that is often to our benefit. And I like that in some ways, like they're doing the collaborative articles right now. They're just going their own route and saying like, who cares what the other platforms are doing? That's cool. No, I think it may happen, but it's yet to be determined, and I don't think it's a reason to shy away from AI right now.
Yeah, I think overall, like, could it happen? Sure. Is it something to focus on? Probably not. Like overall. And here's something that you also have to consider as well. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. They're creating their
Mhm.
own AI right now. So I mean, I don't really see them doing that since they're creating their own thing, but Google also is doing the same thing as well. But like Microsoft's doing it too. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, but we'll see. All right. Brent, shout out to Brent. What's going on, man? Good seeing you. Do you have a model for how much of an AE's pipeline should come from marketing versus SDR outbound versus the AEs themselves? If so, what do you believe are good, reasonable numbers? All right, we're getting to the data now.
Like, do I have an answer for that? Uh, we look at so with clients and internally, we're usually looking at marketing influence versus marketing sourced because we're not trying to fight over sources and like attribution and all that junk, either internally or with our clients. So I would like to see at least 30, 40 plus percent of pipeline influenced by marketing. Really, I think it's more working together to get to that number versus the source. But I mean, you have been in sales management where, I am not. So, what's your answer?
So I always hate starting the question this way, but y'all know what I'm gonna say. It depends, right? Like, 'cause,
Depends. I
no,
knew.
I hate it, in this situation. I try not to answer things that way, but it really does because right, it depends on all right, how many AEs are involved? Are you full sales cycle? Are your SDs are your accounts only enterprise? So this answer completely changes. What
Yes.
what I will say from the reasonable standpoint, also as well, your product could be good, right? And you have like 80% inbound, right? That could be happening. I would say as of right now, if you look at the market and what's going on, if you're heavily top on outbound, that's actually incredible, but I don't see a lot of people doing that right now. And if they are, then that's great, but like that's just like at least what I've seen. So you're probably looking at a good reasonable number of like AE pipelines, probably self like let's say self-source probably 10 to 15%. It's not going to be anything crazy. Sometimes it can actually be even way lower than that. From the SDR like outbound themselves, like you probably would see if it's outbound as a whole, probably the large majority of that. So maybe it's like 40%, and then maybe the rest of that is probably going to start leaning in towards like marketing is going to trickle in at like 20-30. So that's me doing the math in my head, so public math. But that's the way that like I would answer that question. In terms of the model, like I would try to find a way to give your AEs, those keep it simple, 25 accounts that they can prospect probably for the month. And if you probably do like probably 30 to 50. And so then the whole goal of, hey, we're just trying to get 2 to 5 main meetings each month. Again, I'm giving a basic example. This could change. You get 2 to 5 meetings each month. Based on those 2 to 5 meetings you get each month, you should supplement that probably by like maybe 10, 15 meetings for the SDR. And then marketing's coming in and filling that. And then once you look at probably 2 quarters, you'll probably be able to get a good assessment of like, where should we double down? Where should we stop? What's working? What's not? Are the AEs really struggling? How are we supporting them, et cetera? So, Brent, long-winded answer. Don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for. The way that I think about it is if you're looking at having SDR, they should be scheduling obviously more meetings than your AEs. You don't want your AEs doing a prospecting all over the place, but they should be doing something. And then your marketing should be supplementing the rest, whatever that is, depending on your team, what your content is, and your capture. So that's the way I think about it.
I loved watching you do math live. It seemed to add up to close to 100. That was good. That was good. I love the answer, and also I think in the way that I would love to see marketing and am I cutting out right now? Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know. You're like frozen, like all over. Okay. What I was gonna say is what I would love to see with marketing and sales run together is, like, just Uh-oh.
Are we good? I think it might have been me. I think
Someone
we're good
just
though.
said it's a little glitchy.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
Well,
good.
I don't know what
I'm
happened.
good. Yeah,
We're back.
I would love to see marketing and sales running campaigns together where the marketing message and sales outreach is happening hand in hand, and who cares who's ultimately generating that lead. If you're like going for those 70 top prospects, let's work together and get them in the pipeline. Like our BDR gets paid on anything that comes in through that campaign because she is working really hard to get the message out, drive people to our site, and book meetings. So, I mean, that is much more of like a small business. You know, I'm not running a professional sales organization, but that's more how I'm looking at it.
Cool. All right, y'all. I'm back. So if anyone has any further questions, dive in, ask away. Let's see across the board. Hopefully, Brent, that helps answer that question there. And yes, Adam, we are good to go. So a lot of good insights here across the board. Hopefully, everyone's taking these away and they're able to go take action. They're able to go figure out exactly how they want to go about that. Uh, Question for you, Jackie, on the personal branding side. Again, you've created a lot of content, 5 years now. What has been your favorite posts that you've ever done?
Mm. You know, there were like one random Tuesday a couple years ago. I realized that, so I try to be very open. And I realized that there was a big chunk of my story of how I started that I never really talked about. And I just got this idea in my head and posted it at like what everyone says is the least optimal time, just about talking about the story and what it really takes to build a business, what it really takes to start something. Because at the end of the day, I think most of us really only scratch the surface. And if we can get into those deeper levels, which I know is something that you're working on right now too,
Mhm.
is people can relate to you so hard, and they really come to understand what it takes to get something off the ground or try something new or take a risk or whatever it may be. So I think I have it featured on my profile because I just love that post where I talked about uh seriously the things that I did when I started this company. It was like my little ego was like, oh, do I really have to make all these sacrifices? I'm not excited about, like downgrading my car, and we moved into this crooked house. Seriously, the doors, you'd open them and they'd go whoosh, and they like slam open because the house was like quite crooked. But whatever. I mean, the sacrifice was worth it. But yeah, that's probably my favorite post.
I feel that. I think the sacrifices are what make a more. I forgot. It was Izzy. Yeah, we were with the UFC fight, and I don't know if anyone of y'all saw the UFC fight. And I took my dad there for his 60th birthday,
Fun.
and the speech that he gave though at the end gave us all the feels because he was like, this feeling that I have right now is the best feeling that I've ever had because of the sacrifices and the work that I put to get to this moment. And he's like, you'll never be able to feel the feeling that I have if you aren't willing to sacrifice to get to the moment that I'm at right now and put your all on the line and chase your dream. So what you said like gave me the goosebumps because like obviously no one was expecting that speech. When I heard that speech, I was like, yeah, like that's what it's all about. Like you look back at all the sacrifices, the work, the nights you're like, yo, I don't even know what the heck's going on. You wake up being like, I don't really understand what's happening. And then
Mhm.
when it all comes together, remembering those sacrifices you made, it's all worth it. So wanted to echo that sentiment.
Yeah, for sure. I just got the chills when you were saying, and you have been doing this lately, going through building a new company and just the amount of questioning that you don't just question what you're doing, but you begin to question yourself and your time and your priorities and like everything about yourself, right? I just posted about this week. Like, do I have what it takes to do this? And I think the more we can work on ourselves and the more we can share and build a community around the struggle and the beauty at the end of it. I just think that's one of the things that makes LinkedIn awesome and completely different from a lot of other social platforms.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And Jackie, yeah, I tweeted this morning about my YouTube journey, and
I
I was
saw
like,
that.
yeah, and I was like, yo, like this sucks. Because it's hard going from like, hey, like, I've been on LinkedIn, got to, it was like 156,000 at this point, right? And I've seen all the ups and downs of a social platform, but for when I first did it for like 3 years, it was just insane engagement, insane, all this stuff, right? So to go to a new platform and basically be like a loser, not a loser, but like hero, and being like, no
What a
one knows who
loser.
I am. like it's hard. And now I'm telling people like I I'm very transparent about that because it is very difficult to go from something where it's like you go on a platform, people know who you are, and then you go to another platform and it's like, yo, like who are you again? Like
I
it's
know.
so
I
hard.
tested out TikTok for a little bit here, and I was getting trolled by all these kids, and I was like, "The lack of respect." I was like, "Do I belong here? I am unsure." It was bad.
They're hostile over there.
Yeah. I went live one time on TikTok, back to Q because he told me
Yeah.
to, and they were like these kids were like, "Mom, is that you?" And I was like I was like, "Yeah, I am a mom." And I shut down the live, and then I never did it again. My little baby
TikTok
eagle was hurt.
ruined you.
Yeah. One kid had no idea how much they were hurting my feelings.
It is a hostile platform. And yeah, that's the thing. The YouTube and then just selling to a different audience, being in a different realm, it is all highly uncomfortable. But I think it's one of those things that through being uncomfortable, you can be comfortable. It's a growth period and all those different things that come with it.
Yeah, absolutely. No TikTok soon to be banned in the US. Back to bringing people onto different platforms and capturing them on your website.
Yeah. Do you think it's
Yeah,
gonna happen?
I don't know. Would I love it to happen so my teens and preteens aren't trying to sit on it 24/7? Maybe, but that's
Yeah.
about the only skin I have in that game right now.
That's fair. So, all right, y'all. As we're going towards the end of this, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat. I just saw someone, so we're gonna mention it here. Also, if you want to ask Jackie about the Bucks or NBA, we can have that conversation. That we can flip it at any time. We're just hanging out here on a Friday as we're gonna wrap up here. But here, I don't know if it was mentioned earlier. What subtle factors should be watched out for? Oh, let's see. What do we watch out for to determine if a particular marketing approach is driving sales pipeline?
What subtle factors should be watched out for? I mean, there is leading indicators and then there's the actual indicators of success, right? Like the gold standard indicator of success is demo requests, is whatever, the end result is. But the leading indicators are things like pipeline influence. So, for example, we were on a quarterly business review with one of our clients the other day, and we were looking at our very first campaign that we had run with them and whether it was working or not. And the things that we saw were working was one deal came in, and we were able to attribute, I think, like 3 closed deals to the campaign, and then a bunch that were still in process because they have a little bit longer sales cycle.
Mhm.
And the first one that we had, the decision maker had looked at 44 pages over 9 sessions on their website and just spent tons of time on their site. And the CEO of the company pops on and he's like, "Wait, what deal are we talking about?" "Oh yeah, they came in and they were like, 'We know everything. We don't have any questions. We're ready to go.'" And I was like, "Sick." Those are things that do not show up in an attribution report,
Mhm.
but you can see things like and some would call web traffic a vanity metric. However, web traffic that is that qualified, that's walking into the sales process ready to buy, like that's amazing. So I think there's a lot of things that you have to look at, like pipeline influence and like things like views and conversions on your site from your target audience. And even just the numbers, like if you're running a first campaign, the numbers going up is a great indicator. So is your social interaction going up? Is your web traffic going up? Are you seeing an increase in new contacts and in eventually pipeline?
Perfect. Hopefully that helped answer the question for you. And if it didn't, we can clarify it again. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is a really good question here. How do you address the problem of consistency versus keeping up with the ever changing world?
feel like I could get real heady here. Keeping
Yeah.
up with the ever-changing world. I would love to know more about what that means, like the ever-changing world of LinkedIn or like all the shit we've been through in the last 3 years, because I could talk about that.
I think
Um,
I want to say it's I think the last point you made, but obviously they can let us know exactly what they mean.
well, if we're talking about keeping up with the world and just everything that has been happening in the world that is frankly and the US that is frankly depressing, I think that we have to be really careful about the information that we take in. Like, I used to be the person that had the news on every single morning while I was getting ready. And I just, knowing myself, I know that I cannot stay focused and show up the way that I need to for the people that I love and for my team. And, like on social, generating pipeline, everything that we're doing, I can't do it if I'm constantly taking in that information. So I read the week 10 things you need to know today, and it's like a roundup newsletter of 10 things, the 10 most important things as determined by the week that happened the day before, because I want to be educated on everything that's going on and I care a whole lot, but for my mental health, I can't be in that all the time. So that's one of the things that helps me stay consistent. And if we're talking about the ever-changing world of LinkedIn, I mean, reusing, testing content, testing different formats, I think that helps a lot. I used to be really scared of reposting content, and now I do it a lot more just because it's like, man, I have put so much work into creating all of this content for it to just maybe be seen one time is crazy. It's like the anti-marketing lesson, which is distribute, distribute.
I mean, if we go back to Mikey's gonna be, it's flip it and reverse it. I mean, if this could be this is own repurposing strategy in itself, but that's essentially what you're saying.
Mhm.
And I think that's absolutely important. So let us know if that helped answer your question there across the board. And then if people have more questions, feel free to chime in and we can go into it. So as people are going to dive in and maybe talk about like what they're thinking about across the board, my question to you is, who's winning the finals?
The Bucks. I mean, do you think I have an answer besides that?
Uh Maybe not. I don't know. I'm curious if you were just gonna take a step back and not say the Bucks
No,
since you have to go
no.
up.
I desperately want it to be the Bucks, and I'm going to the game on Sunday, and I mean, I ask my husband all the time because I follow the Bucks mostly, and I follow all of them on Instagram because there's some great fashion in the NBA. Now, he broadly follows the whole NBA, and it's like and he's always like, "Well, the play-in tournament could be this and this, and I think it's gonna be the Raptors," and they lost right away. And, and
I got
he's
smoked.
so he's always like he goes real deep into it, and I'm like, I just want to see the Bucks win because man, the energy and everything that it did for Milwaukee, and even like people that aren't from Milwaukee, the area that they built the Fiserv Forum in, it brought that whole area of the city to life. And it's just like I have the chills thinking about it. It is so dang cool seeing so many people from a city that is broken in many ways come together to celebrate something like that. I just think the Bucks have done incredible things for Milwaukee. And so like am I deep into basketball? Yes and no. But, I really like my investment is what it does for our city. I love it.
I love that. And I think they would have won last year if they had Middleton.
Mhm.
I think they would have pushed it through. I so on the West, so who are they gonna play? That's the real question. Who are
I
they
have
playing?
no idea. I mean, who do you think they're going to play?
I think it's gonna be Suns Bucks.
Yeah. Who do you think's going
And
to win?
I think it's gonna be game 7, and I think the Suns are gonna pull it through.
You
So
think so, huh?
I'm against you on this. Even though
I mean,
I like Giannis a lot. But the thing is that like I just feel like with Chris Paul, they're gonna do everything they can. This is his last chance, in my opinion.
yeah.
I feel like he doesn't have anything left after this year. So they're gonna do everything they can to win the West. And I look at all the other teams in the West. There's only like probably the Nuggets and really maybe like the Warriors, and that's about it in my opinion. Everyone else like is kind of shaky. So I think they're gonna do everything they can to get Chris Paul to win. But if someone gets hurt like Kevin Durant or Booker, yeah, they're not gonna win. There's no way.
You know, the way that I've seen the Bucks, because I've been to a lot of games this year.
Mhm.
The way that I've seen the Bucks play this year, man, I mean, if they are really on their game and if they're healthy, I think they can beat any of those teams. Truly.
I don't really. I don't doubt you at all because Aiton is soft, and so I have no idea who's going to guard Giannis at all. He might drop 50 a game against them, just like
Mm,
right? Like I actually don't. I would not surprise me. I'm the only reason I'm picking the Sun is because I think it's the Chris Paul let's get him a ring narrative, and that emotion might push them to get that done because the Bucks have one, but at the same time, the Bucks probably will come with a lot of energy because like they should have won last year, and they're like,
mhm.
no, like we need to get it. So that's like the forces I think that are at play.
The thing that I think could make your wish come true is that the Bucks have not been super healthy, and they've been sitting a lot of people I mean, for good reason
Right.
in some games, but, you know, there's people out with random injuries all the time, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my main question, but I can't wait. I'm gonna be at as many games as I can, and it's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. The Celtics, you know, on the East, they could do something. Rob's coming in from YouTube saying healthy Middleton, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I mean that's what's going to
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
I think honestly, Memphis is irrelevant. They just remind me of people who just like talk a ton and then they play and then they get waxed. So I just don't see them really doing anything. And if you're a Memphis fan, you can comment, but like they just don't have it.
Dude, we've got 2 clients at Accelity that are big Celtics fans, and I swear I was sitting in Peru. We somehow found the US bar in Peru to go watch the game, and then when we got murdered by the I was looking at my phone, like, just waiting for all the texts from the haters, the Celtics fans to come in, but we'll see. We'll see.
They are haters.
I know. You know, I don't hate the Celtics though. They have a lot of talent on their team, but yeah, their fans are haters.
They're used to winning. They have their legacy. They have their pride. That's just how they are. It's like I don't know, college football. It's like I went to UGA, so Alabama. It's the same thing. Like they're always if they lose, they get so angry, and they become very toxic, and they become haters. And if you're
I
out,
mean,
like I'll call you out too. So you know we're both
I too hate to lose.
here.
So I kind of get it.
so I get it as well. I don't like it either, but it's like elevated. It's like a whole new level. It's like whoa, like I get it, but then it's like let's relax.
Mhm.
Exactly. See, Travis knows. Like Boston and Philly, they are special fans. That's the best way to put it. And
Tough,
they also
man.
know that.
Mhm.
They also know that. So, all right, y'all, we're wrapping up. Jackie, thank you so much for coming on Muffins with Morgan. Hopefully you had a good time, and hopefully everyone else here had a good time and enjoyed the insight. Probably the obvious answer is LinkedIn. Sounds like it's not going to be TikTok, but where can people find you?
LinkedIn. It's where I spend the most time, but you can check. I mean, I have a ton of resources on my site too, JackieHermes.com, that like the podcast and the course and a blog. And if you want more information really on anything we talked about today, I publish quite a bit there.
Awesome, y'all. Well, have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. I will see you on next week, and have a good one. Cheers.